In woodworking, there's many different ways to approach a project, both in mindset and technique. I believe it's important for everybody to find the method that works best for them.
So one of my favorite things that I've learned over the years is templating. Templating has allowed me to do things without a CNC. It's allowed me to be very precise and perfect about what I want to build before I actually move forward and build it. It's great to have when you're doing a chair or stool such as this, when you really need both of those sides to be exact. That template's going to be exactly how that end result's going to be. And when we have that template that is exactly what we want, then we can start the build. So this is what I like to call the mother. This is the main template. This is the template that we're going to want to get exact. Because whatever we start with here, we're going to end up with a finished piece of furniture. We're also going to make a second one of these. The second one we're going to break down into, in this case, 3 pieces. And when you put these 3 pieces together, it's obviously going to make the same shape as the mother. For obvious reasons, we cannot find a piece of lumber that is big enough for this. Not only that, is it won't be strong on the joints. So this allows us to find these angles on the joints, and then we're able to join them with the correct grain going the right way. So for starting out, I typically begin with a sheet of MDF. And for me, I have a very vivid imagination, and I have it in my head what I want to do. For others, they might want to first sketch it out on a piece of paper and then to transfer that. Now I'm going to start with a pencil because I know that I'm going to be erasing certain lines. So as you can see, I'm getting a real vague, kind of ambiguous shape going on here. And it's going to give me something to work off of. I know I'm going to look at it, I'm going to see things immediately that I don't like about it, but it's a point of reference more than anything. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of freehand work as well, and then come back and then I'll straighten out those lines. In order to get those radiuses a little bit more consistent, I typically just use stuff like paint cans and spray paint and washers, kind of whatever you have laying around the shop that gives you a real consistent curve. So now that I'm done sketching out about what I think I want, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm happy with the legs, the thickness of it, the proportions. I'm gonna take this and stand it up. This is one of the great things about templates. When you build them to scale, you're really able to put it up, take a step back and look at it and make sure it's what you really want. And always keep in mind that once you start with this, this is basically going to be the exact same thing that you're going to end up with. Now comes the time of breaking this down. What I've found that works the best for me is the track saw and a track. This allows us to get these lines perfectly straight. Now, if you don't have one, that's okay. You can use a jigsaw, you can use a skill saw, but just keep in mind that it's really important to keep these lines perfectly straight, because once again, this is exactly what you're going to end up with. So if there's a little divot in this, it's a little squirrely, that's going to transfer to your finished piece. Now when I cut this, I'm going to drop the blade at the beginning point and the end point of these radiuses. You don't want to go past this, because any kind of little variation or defect on that template is going to show up in the end piece. So I'm going to cut it short, and I'm going to connect them with a jigsaw. We now have our somewhat cleaned up version of the template. What I want to do before I make our duplicate is I want to clean up all these radiuses. I have a spindle sander, which I'll go ahead and use. Okay, we have our completely finished. Hopefully we're happy with it, 100%. This is the finished template. Now, like I mentioned before, this is the mother. Now we have to duplicate it.
Nothing helps you grow more than just getting out there and building something.